Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to RobMotive. Today, I am replacing the shift boot with something a little more customized inside the Toyota Tacoma. Now, as you can see in the beginning, I've already gone ahead and pulled this center console piece. Pretty simple. Then, and I've already got the boot off, of course, but there are 4 screws in each corner of this center part, the one where it shows you where the gears are. You need to go ahead and pull that out. Then, this would have had the shift boot attached to it, of course. It's glued around the edges, but it is pushed down in like so. You have to release it from the back via these little clips that just have little push things on them. These things, you simply pull them out a little bit and then it just pushes right out. Then, as you can see, I did remove the OEM boot. It is glued onto the sides. This is just a little piece of double-sided tape I stuck on for experimentation purposes. You can't do it that way. It's a very tight fit, and the only way to put the new one on is to glue it around the sides. So I went to Lowe's, got myself some contact cement. I'm gonna go ahead and put it around the edges on there. You're supposed to leave it sit for 10 or 15 minutes, and then I can stick the new boot on. And speaking of the new boot, this is what I'm putting on. You can see it's a black lime green combination. It should look pretty cool in there, I hope. Now, it is quite a bit bigger than the OEM. There's the OEM boot and there is my boot. I did buy it an inch or so longer anyway, because if you remember when I did my shift knob mod, this was really tight. So I wanted more material, and I certainly got more material. I hope not too much. We'll find out, I suppose. Maybe that shift knob will be a little bit higher. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead, put the contact cement around, leave it sit for about 15 minutes, and then we have to go ahead and fit the shift boot. There'll be a little bit of trimming. There's a little bit of extra material here. Nothing an X-Acto knife can't handle. And then we'll put it back together. Okay, here is the finished product. Really not too bad. The contact cement worked out really well. It just screws in from the bottom, as I showed you guys. It's in there. And then I went ahead and put the quick disconnect, I'll call it, shift, what do you want to call this, hardware? I don't know. The way it works, this will go on the shift rod. You push this down, put this on the rod, and then you pull this up and this grabs, and that's what connects. So it's a pretty slick system. Anyway, now it's time to get this in the truck and see what it actually looks like. Let's see how close of a match it actually is. It's not spot on, but it's pretty darn close. Okay, we've got it inside the truck. Now the final piece, and that is putting the shift knob on. As I said, you want to go ahead and pull down the collar, if you will, and then put your piece on there, and you notice mine's too big. That's because I have to have a spacer to shrink it down. And in case you want to know, the rod size is M8 by 1.25, and that's what my adapter here is. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that on, and then we're gonna put this on. I always forget which way it goes. I guess it goes this way. Yeah, that makes sense. Actually, that doesn't make sense. It goes the other way. So you want the pointy end, if you will, facing down, like so. That's going to go on like that. And then I can't quite remember how tight I want it. So let's get the other end on, and this is my rod, and it can only go so far. And then the shift knob, of course, is going to screw down and sit on top. Now, what I have to do to accommodate that, because obviously I don't want this silver gap, is just to screw this up a little bit, and then I'll tighten this top part slightly down on it, and we should be good, I think. You don't need to go too far. And then actually I'll just tighten it up against. It's a whole conglomerated system, let me tell you. But it works, so. And we'll just tighten it like that. And I think Let's see if I can tighten them all together like so. That's all you really need. And then the shift knob, or shift boot I should say, is going to pull up. And then we'll spin this down on top, and that's kind of what it'll look like. This will be covered. It'll be flush up here. So if all works according to plan, let me make sure I have this tight enough. And then I want to just pull this up until it snaps in. Just like that. You probably heard it, I hope. And then we want to go ahead and tighten the shift knob on top. The good thing about this, you go with any shift knob you want, right? And it tightens down pretty far. And then just kind of give it a good snug tight. That's it. You don't want to go crazy. And that's what it's going to look like. I think it's pretty neat. I know the orange on here was not a hugely popular choice, but it's something offsetting, and honestly, I may change it out. I've got my eye on this green kind of shift knob thing, so we'll see. I may do something else with it, but I'm pretty happy. The collar and the boot and all that stuff came out pretty well. It just adds a little flash inside the truck. I like it. Now, the other thing is going to be to make sure that we have enough room to shift. In other words, this isn't too tight. Let's check that out. We've got the truck running. Moment of truth. We need to make sure there's enough give in the shift boot so that it can stretch far enough that it's not too taut, I guess is the right word. So let's go to reverse. Obviously, there's plenty of room there. And then all importantly is drive. And you see we still have quite a bit of flexibility here. Enough material, it's not really an issue. So I'm happy. I think it came out really well. Let's check it out from the other side. You can see it's not too tight. There's plenty of room. We're not pulling on anything. And the last thing I want to do after getting this thing set in here, what I think is pretty much perfectly, is have it too taut so that it starts to pull up on the boot itself. Good size. I highly recommend, if you decide to do this for some crazy reason, going with a 1-inch extra material. By the way, this comes from Redline Goods. It's a company in Poland, I think. Although shipping and everything is really fast, so they do a great job. Anyway, let me know what you think. I'd be curious to know. And the more I look at this, I think this shift knob may have to go. I think it might be not too complimentary enough with the lime green color. But I do love this shift boot. Pretty darn awesome. Anyway, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Is it worth the hassle or not? And it really wasn't too bad. I'd be curious to know. Also, real quick, I do have 2 additional channels. Mod Driven, all about the Honda Civic, which has a custom shift boot and shift knob in it as well. And RobMotive JT, all about the Jeep Gladiator. Check them out, and if you're interested, why not subscribe? And while you're at it, smash the subscribe button here too. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.